University, Drexel University, and the University of Pennsylvania. He's worked in architecture, interior design, and construction for over 50 years. He founded the Design Development Planning Group and served as Chief of Design Development for the Philadelphia Housing Authority. He grew to become Senior VP of Hospitality Worldwide Services, one of the nation's largest hotel renovation construction firms. For the past 22 years, he's worked as owner's representative and construction consultant on projects throughout South Florida. For the past 5 years, Richard has served as chair of Temple Bethel's renovation design team, supervising the design and construction of our congregation's new design and renovation. There is not a single square inch of the new construction on the Schaefer family campus that does not bear his imprint. Richard and his wife Marlene share 4 children and 8 grandchildren. Give you Richard Bluestone.
I just design and build buildings. First of all, everything you experience and see was created and completed by a team of the most extraordinary people. There was the task force, and I have to just mention the names. Dan, of course, in the clergy, Steve Kaufman, Barry Podolsky, Rita Diamond, who was incredible, Patty Beck, Terry, who's here, Art Siegel, Jeffrey Katz, Jason Reesner. I don't know what he gets paid, but it's not enough. Unbelievable. PGAL and Kaufman Lynn, and PGAL deserves an award for putting up with me for 4 years every Thursday. I heard once that a volunteer's pay is recognition. I totally disagree. I think a volunteer's pay is opportunity and privilege. The opportunity to exercise one's experience, one's knowledge, and one's passion. That's the pay I believe that a volunteer really enjoys. 1967 or so, 3rd year architectural school, Penn State, first term, 10-week term, project. Took us out to a field, I don't know, 5, 6, 7, 8 acres. Beautiful rolling hills, trees, rock outcropping, streams. And we had to design a non-denominational meditation chapel. 1967, I don't think anybody knew what the word meditation meant. And we spent a day or 2 out there looking at the topography and the landscape and getting a feel for it. Came back and started design. About a week into the design, my critics, our professors, are walking around, looking over our shoulders at the drawing board. And everybody's designing these little churches with steeples, trying to get very creative. I had sketches of a family sitting on logs, looking at the trees and the stream. And my critic said, Bluestein, what's going on here? I said, oh, it's meditating. I mean, what better place than this gorgeous site, sitting in the trees, amongst the trees in this beautiful piece of nature. What could be better to meditate? He said, you got it. Now turn that into a piece of architecture. So I created this little meditation chapel. It was for 100 people, I believe, if I remember correctly. And it had a curved wall at the end because it's the simplest form of geometry, no corners to distract you. 6 floor-to-ceiling green translucent glass windows to let the shimmering light come in and the feeling of this garden that we were in. It so happened that term, the NCARB, National Commission for Architectural Review Boards, was coming to Penn State to do their, I think every 5 years they review the architectural schools for reaccreditation. And they were picking, the School of Architecture was picking one project from each of the 5 years to present in jury before this board and before the entire School of Arts at Penn State. There were about 300 people in the auditorium. And my project was picked for the third year project to be presented. No computers, it was drawings, pen and ink and pastel on an illustration board, took photographs of the computers and slides made, and 5 screens behind me with the 5 slides. And I stood up, a third-year student, fluffing my feathers, to present my meditation chapel. And I went through it all. And Ken Polakowski, thank you, Ken, who is chair of the Department of Landscape Architecture, stood up first. And he said, I'm standing there after this presentation, Mr. Bluestein, the best thing I could say about this project is to say nothing at all. This is pure kish. Never heard the word. I kind of thought I knew how it was spelled. If you look, there are books written on kish. It is the art of bad taste. It is the art of meaningless design. And he proceeded, it's every cliche, bing, 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 and I'm standing there with my mouth open, not knowing even how to respond. I went home that night. We had 128 students in the freshman year of architectural school at Penn State. 14 graduated, which was about average for that, for the field, for the education of architecture. I went home that night, I spent half the night looking at these 5 illustration boards going, oh. This is the point where, you know, it goes from 128 to 14. The next day it's, I'm out of here, I want to sell pianos or something. Okay, let's jump ahead 55 years. 5 years ago, Dan, Barry, Steve, I believe, had come to me. They came to me and said, would you chair the task force for the design and construction of our new temple? I said, absolutely. It didn't take me a second. But there's a condition. It's not just going to be a good piece of architecture that functions well and serves our needs. It's going to have to be a significant piece of architecture. And everybody said, great, go. We went to raise this much money the year before, we got this much money. Halfway through the design, he said, we need this much money. We got it. And the first thing I did very early in the game, before I even started sketching anything and sitting with the team, the whole team, professional and our congregants, I said to Dan, I need you for an hour and a half, off campus, no phone, no interruptions, nothing. And we sat, and I said, what's your vision? Got information that I can't give enough credit to Dan for what I got from that and a couple subsequent meetings like that. He said, we are people of the tent. We're people of the sand, the desert. We're people of the rock. We're people of the garden. You know, look what we did to Israel. We took a desert, turned it into garden. Chapel, garden. 1967, trees. 6 green glass tinted translucent windows. If Polakowski's alive, I'm sending him a round trip ticket. So, here we are. Who would have ever believed I would have the opportunity at the tail end of a great career to do this? So like I say, the pay is the opportunity. I wish there were a lot of young people here. I tell you, believe in yourself. Stick to your guns. And that's the pay. That's the thanks. the privilege to have the opportunity to do this, to walk into our tent at the portico, into the desert with the sand, the tile that comes in from outside the glass, on the floor, up the walls of the desert you can't see, to wander down the journey to our rock, Mount Sinai, our temple, our sanctuary, and our garden right here. You know, and it's funny, and I look, and there's a smile on everybody's face when they walk in the door. I'm sitting